Hello and welcome to the Bloggers Magazine on I-24 News. Today we take a look back at some of our best stories and debates from the past few weeks as we explore a fascinating new exhibit called Lama, meaning why, here at the Jaffa Port. It's fitting to be here in this colorful exhibit for the whole family, as today's show focuses on families. Gay families, middle-class families, and the issue of civil marriages here in Israel. Let's begin with a portrait by Ron Friedman of a kindergarten which caters to gay and single-parent families, and the following discussion between Niv Ellis and Imri Kalman.
For years, gay pride in Israel, and particularly in Tel Aviv, revolved around sexual freedom. Gays from Israel and around the world flocked to the city's beaches and nightclubs in order to join in the party. But in recent years, the city's maturing LGBT community has found something new to take pride in: the increasing legitimization of same-sex families. Sammy Fugler, who moved to Tel Aviv from London in order to raise his son with his Israeli husband, noticed that though same-sex families were becoming increasingly common, there were no kindergartens that catered for the emerging niche. So he decided to open a gay-friendly kindergarten of his own, only blocks away from Gan Meir, a long-time cruising spot for gay men.
We have a diverse mix of families. We have children from single-sex families and children from mixed-sex families, some that have two fathers, some that have two mothers, and some families where they have both a mother and a father. One of the things that you'll notice in the kindergarten is we have a wall of photographs. Every family has their photograph there. And you'll see that there's lots of different size, shapes and kinds of families clearly displayed on the wall. This is about raising children's self-esteem, sense of belonging.
Featuring a rare equal mix of male and female caregivers, books that highlight alternative families, and extra attention when it comes to accepting differences, Rainbow Nursery quickly became a hit among same-sex couples, as well as straight people who share in Fulger's egalitarian vision.
All of them like the inclusive approach, otherwise they wouldn't be in our kindergarten. For some of them, that is the driving factor. For others, it's a contributing factor of why Rainbow is such a great place.
Fugler believes that same-sex couples' ability to have kids is a key toward the legitimization of homosexuality in Israeli society.
Certainly in Israel, you can really feel it, that there's a very strong sense of family, that family is very, very important. There's kind of a new legitimacy around the idea of being gay because of this possibility to still have children, have families.
This shift has transformed Tel Aviv from a gay meat market to a mecca for same-sex families.
I think in Tel Aviv, the idea of single-sex or same-sex families is much more prevalent than it is in somewhere like London. I don't see it in London. You don't walk down the street in London and see other families that are like yours. Now when I go to the gay beach in the Hilton, I see the same people that I saw more than 10 years ago with their kids.
All right, so in the past, living your life as a gay person and having kids were two things that were kind of hard to put together. Nowadays, that has changed drastically. What do you think, Imri?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I cannot speak as one that had children.
Well, you're still young.
Yeah, but I can see the different. I mean, the changes. I mean, I had a gay father. I mean, he came out after I was like 12, and it was a secret. I mean, it was really a secret. I didn't want anyone to know. And I can see it now in Tel Aviv that it's not only a secret. It's not a secret anymore. It's like, it's something people are proud, you know.
Right.
You know, you can see in Rothschild Boulevard, you know, many families, you know, same-sex families.
Yeah.
Looks good.
We've also seen it on TV, for instance, Modern Family, we've all seen that, and they're trying very hard to show that, you know, gay families have the same problems, same issues as straight families. Do you think that's how it is?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, that Modern Family does a really nice thing in that they're not trying to pretend that there are no differences. They sort of accept that there are differences, but not in ways that are going to be meaningful or invite exclusion. You know, gays can still be gays, lesbians can still be lesbians. I think that it really does normalize it. I think people see it every day in their living room and realize, oh, this isn't such a crazy thing.
Not something to fear necessarily.
I think so much of homophobia and transphobia and all of these phobias are just about a lack of familiarity.
The Lama exhibit, which is partly sponsored by the Tel Aviv municipality, is running through July and August during the children's summer vacation. These are complicated times for middle-class families in Israel. They have to find childcare solutions, often expensive ones for their kids. For more on the middle-class crisis here in Israel, here's a portrait by Yael Gaaton, followed by a discussion with Elizabeth Zurkov and Amir Ben David.
We'll go and take a bath now.
Meet the Eisenberg family. Chen and Nurit are both certified nurses, and they have 2 adorable twins. Tonight, Nurit's father is helping her put her children to bed, while Chen works the late shift at Bed Levinstein Hospital.
In a beautiful valley between the mountains and fields stands a 5-story building.
For the Eisenberg family, the classic Israeli children's book, A Flat for Rent, is not just a story, it's the reality.
The building's owner wrote a sign, apartment for rent.
In August, their rent is going up. Chen and Nurit will have to leave their modest apartment. They'll put a sign on their door and search again for a new apartment to rent.
I don't believe that to want a home of your own is such a high expectation. It's so basic. Every person wants to feel safe in a place where he can't be kicked out at any point because the cost of rent is rising.
In the summer of 2011, Nurit and Chen were still students in nursing school. They had just married. Instead of going on a honeymoon, they joined the masses of protesters.
We took part in that summer events. We were there, and I can tell you that we really believed that something will change.
I'm just on break now.
Okay, so instead of the morning shift, you'll do Saturday evening.
It's a higher paid shift. We'll earn more money.
Yes, I know.
Okay, I'll go back to work because I still have to distribute meds today.
Of course, I didn't believe that it would be this hard. We didn't think we'd be chasing our tail, that we'd have to deal with these situations, on what to give up. No one thought it would be like this.
Chen earns 8,500 shekel per month. Nurit earns 6,500. Rent is 4,000, public preschool 2,100.
We almost never go on vacations.
We almost didn't put money aside.
Car expenses, rent, internet, cell phone, food, children's clothing, diapers, payment for the couch they bought long ago. They're lucky if they finish the month and break even.
I really did think about leaving to Australia, Canada. It could be very easy for us because we have this job.
For me, it's very difficult emotionally. I can't see myself live so far from my family, and I'm very attached to this place. I can never do it without my father's help.
Suppose they decided to stay. What is the future? Every year to change an apartment because the owner wants a higher rent.
It's the last preparations before bedtime. Chen is still working in the hospital and will come home late at midnight. Between taking care of their children and working long hours, they will soon have to find the time to look for a new apartment.
Good night.
Amir, let's begin with you. This portrait, do you think it's representative of the current situation of middle-class families?
No doubt about it. This is a portrait of average Israeli family in 2011. Bear in mind that the median income in Israel is 5,500 shekels. So even if you have 2 salaries and you earn like 10,000 shekels, it's not enough. It's barely enough to make a living.
Yeah.
So the fact that you mentioned before that the rate of unemployment is low, the real issue is the fact that if you work, you cannot make a living. This is the problem, not the fact that you are not working. You can work, but you don't earn enough for this high cost of living in Israel.
Israel is among the countries with the highest income inequality. I mean, according to the Gini coefficient, right? The Gini coefficient only suppressed by Chile, Mexico, United States, and Turkey. What's the reason for that, Elizabeth?
Well, I think the fact that Israel was established as a welfare state, and since the 1990s, this welfare state is falling apart. More and more services are cut. At the same time, wages are stagnant, and the cost of living is rising because of different monopolies. And the result is that people have less disposable income and are really suffering. And this is what triggered the protests that we had.
Do you think the protests had a real impact, though?
I think they had a long-term impact that we're still in the process of realizing what it is. It definitely radicalized a large group of people. It definitely made people more aware of inequality and economic issues, because before that, the main issues in Israeli politics was Israel-Palestine. But an immediate effect is very, very limited.
Children sure are curious. One of their favorite questions, as every parent knows, being why. As the father of a 2.5-year-old, I know that very well. We also asked ourselves that question a few weeks ago when we dealt with atheism in Israel and wondered why citizens can't get married in civil marriages. Here's our last story for today, followed by a discussion with Jay Schultz and Dan Herman.
Cyprus, its sun, its beaches, and its weddings. Nuptial tourism is booming on the island, and it's not just for romantic reasons. This may be the only place on earth that attracts both Israelis and Lebanese for the same reason: a civil marriage. The island specializes in bureaucratic-free wedding procedures that unify Middle Eastern lovers without a rabbi, imam, or priest. In their own countries, there is no civil marriage, and you must share the same religion to get married. In Israel, many immigrants, like those from the former USSR, can't prove their Judaism, so the rabbinical courts refuse to marry them. Lebanon contains 18 different religious communities, and its parliament is distributed according to ethnicity. In other words, its society is ruled by faith. If Cupid hits a Sunni and a Shiite, or a Christian and a Druze, which could easily happen, it's a major problem. The solution entails conversion or getting on a plane. But for some, civil marriage is not just a moral choice, it's a political issue. Like for Nidal Darwich and Kholoud Soukeria, the first civil marriage Lebanese couple in their country, who had to go through a long and arduous bureaucratic process to succeed in having their religion taken off their IDs. Last year, they gave life to Ghadi, the first secular baby in the history of the country. For them, their society needs to change, and in Beirut, a demonstration for civil marriage has taken an even more political edge. Make civil marriage, not civil war.
All right, let's talk civil marriages. Should there be civil marriages in Israel? Jay?
For sure not. America has civil marriage.
Right.
The majority of Jews in America do not marry through an Orthodox Jewish framework like we have here. In America, it is balagan. Today, we have a situation where in America, you have to assume that someone who says they're Jewish is probably not. We can't have that happen here.
Okay, Dan, what do you think?
Disagree. I think actually civil marriage is something that needs to be an option today. We have a lot of Israeli citizens. They're productive members of society, tax-paying citizens. They serve in the army, but they're treated as second-class citizens, maybe because the father is Jewish and the mother is not, to no fault of their own, but they don't get the same relationship or something like that. They need to have other options of ways that they can do something so personal, such a personal choice as marriage. They need to have a lot more options available to them.
Yeah. Jay, I'll tell you why I tend to agree with Dan, because what you're suggesting and what the reality is in Israel right now is that people have to prove that they're Jewish, which is a very problematic thing.
We've always had it. Nothing new.
Well, when Israel was formed, it was more accepted that if you define yourself as Jewish, then you are Jewish.
For citizenship, not religion. Mm-hmm. That was a governmental secular law. Because we assumed anyone who came here was leaving because they weren't coming to a better place.
Right.
Today, Israel is typically a better place than the majority of countries in the world. Thank God, by the way. And today, if we opened up the floodgates, we would have the same problem in a few generations that we have in America, where today, of secular Jews, 71% marry not Jewish, and all hope is lost.
But who's making that decision for them? And I want to also ask why, for example, if someone wants to marry and have a female rabbi there, that's something completely in line, all the words and the prayers and everything, and it's under chuppah and everything's totally in line with tradition, and it's a female rabbi. So what? Why don't they have the freedom to make that decision? Why isn't somebody who came here as a child from the Soviet Union, from some other place, and their father's Jewish, they identify as a Jew, they have and they're not allowed to get married here? I think that's absurd.
That's it from us for today. Next week, we'll be back in our studio with a whole new edition of Bloggers just for you. Till then, you can check out our website, i24news.tv, for our past shows. And I'll see you all again next week.